I put this disclaimer at the beginning of the Penguins video earlier today, but don't come over here onto these YouTube videos into the comments and talk about, oh, Lego, does this really pass for modern journalism these days? I don't want anybody to come in the comments and say that, because I'm not a journalist. I don't know where this notion came from, that I'm all of a sudden the news, that I'm a guy who makes videos in a way similar to the modern news cycle, where we go over a checklist of NHL topics, we talk about them in a non-biased, completely journalistic point of view, and we do it to a standard that could be compared to, I don't know, CTV or CBC or NBC or anything like that. This YouTube channel is not the news. So don't compare me to a journalistic platform and put the expectations that you have of the big national broadcasters onto this channel. This is a YouTube channel where I come here and I say, I'm a hockey fan, you know, I like this sport. And there are so many things to talk about with this sport. So let's go over and see what's cool to discuss on the channel and have a conversation about it in the comments below. That's what the point of this channel is. Thank you. Okay, let's talk about the Vancouver Canucks and the entire notion that Jim Benning had when it comes to the team's desire for acquiring more veterans. And on paper, that by itself sounds like a pretty bad thing, but let's just go over the big tweet that compiles the entire sentiment here on the Sportsnet Twitter account. Jim Benning said the other day, "We are looking more at skilled veterans, more top 6, 9 guys who bring an element of speed and skill to help us with scoring." He said in other quotes that they're going to be doing anything they can. Okay, we're going to do buyouts. We're going to explore all this stuff. Not necessarily go after the top free agents, but just guys who can bring that veteran leadership aspect to this team. And he used that word a lot too, leadership. He wanted to make it clear that veteran guys with leadership qualities that are fast and who can score points in the top 6 or the top 9, that's what the Canucks are going to be looking for. And as I said in our video a few weeks ago, days ago. Oh my gosh, time goes by so slowly. In our previous video back then, I said it straight up. Hey, okay, acquiring veteran leadership guys who are fast and who can score, that sounds like a great thing. You know, on paper, that makes sense. My question in the previous video, though, was just whether or not you actually have the trust in Benning to do that properly. Because sure, anybody can say, okay, yeah, let's acquire skill guys who can score and who give leadership and who are veterans. But doing it is a lot more difficult than actually just saying it out loud. And so the reason I'm making this video here today is because I saw a tweet from Justin McElroy, the guy who works over for CBC Vancouver, and he made a post talking about just the entire notion of getting veteran leadership guys. He posted this on Twitter. "I kept thinking about how Jim Benning said the Canucks needed some veteran leadership next year. So I made a chart. This is the chart right here, and it goes over the number of players over 30 that have played more than 20 games on every NHL team that has made the playoffs, plus the Vancouver Canucks. So this chart lists all the playoff teams this year and the Canucks, and it counts on these teams how many players over 30 that have played more than 20 games, aka a guy who's probably considered a veteran and who probably has some leadership qualities too. The Washington Capitals are the team with the most over 30-year-olds with 20 games played this year, with 10. The Canucks are right there in a tie for second, with the Lightning, the Islanders, the Leafs, the Oilers, the Canadiens, and the Wild with 8. By the way, the Leafs, yeah, you take a look at the Leafs and the veteran leadership guys they have, Spezza, Thornton, Simmons, all these guys that we all kind of know are older and who have that veteran leadership kind of quality to them. Spezza, by the way, probably the guy in my mind that I think Jim Benning might have been thinking about when he said the quote, top 6, top 9 guys, fast scoring and all that. Yeah, probably thinking about Jason Spezza at the very least, because this guy's absolutely crazy good. That's just one team as an example, the Toronto Maple Leafs in this tie for second. Next up, you have the Golden Knights with 7, the Panthers and the Preds and the Bruins with 6. The Bruins, by the way, they made the second round with 6 guys like this. The Winnipeg Jets swept the Oilers, they have 5, the Pens have 4, the Hurricanes 3, and the Colorado Avalanche, President's Trophy winning Avalanche team, is at 2. So what exactly does this first part of the graph say? It says that when it comes to getting guys whom you could probably put the label of veteran leadership on, I mean, the Canucks are right there as one of the teams that have the most veteran leadership guys on their roster already. And you're proven by seeing some of the guys down low that you don't necessarily need that to win because, I mean, Colorado only has 2 guys over 30 who played 20-plus games this year. Here's the down low part on the other side. Here's the average point shares for each of these players over 30 on every playoff team plus the Canucks, meaning that if you take a look at all the points on these teams and you divvy up the percentage of how much of these points are acquired by the guys who are over 30, the Bruins and the Golden Knights are up here with 5.1, the Penguins 4.3. That makes a lot of sense. You know why? Because the guys over 30 on Pittsburgh, Crosby, Malkin, Letang, they account for a lot of points, don't they? You're going down the list, you see the Wild, the Lightning, the Canadiens, the Leafs, the Isles, Hurricanes, Preds. All the way at the bottom, it's the Vancouver Canucks with 1.6. And, I mean, the second last place team is that Colorado team with a 1.9 rating shared with the Oilers. What this means in particular is that despite the fact that the Vancouver Canucks have some of the most veteran leadership quality guys on their team compared to the playoff teams this year, these guys are producing the lowest out of all of the other teams. The Canucks over 30 crew is producing significantly less than the Capitals over 30 crew, or the Wilds over 30 crew, or the Golden Knights, or the Bruins over 30 crew. It's even more embarrassing when you take a look at how some of these teams, most of them in fact, have significantly fewer guys who are over 30 on their roster, yet they're still outscoring the Canucks veteran leadership guys. McElroy says this in the reply to the tweet: if you define veteran leadership as somebody older than 30 who brings intangible value to the team that doesn't necessarily show up on the stat line, the Canucks arguably had more veteran leadership than any team in the playoffs. I'm sure Season 8 is going to turn things around. And so with this being established, it really enforces that point that I tried to make here. Do you trust Benning to be able to do what he's setting out to do properly? He wants to get veteran leadership guys. He'll probably target some players who are a little bit older. But anybody can say that they're going to go out there and get guys who are fast and who can score. But every time the Canucks go out there and get these older veteran guys, it's Tyler Myers, it's Louis Eriksson, it's Jay Beagle and Roussel. It's these guys who don't produce it that way and who are, quite frankly, severely overpaid. It's almost like the Canucks already have a whole bunch of veteran leadership. What's the point of going out there and getting some more? There are finally some names coming off of the books this year that carry significant cap dollars. And so when that cap is freed, is Jim Benning just going to go out there, make a few trades, make a few signings for some older veteran guys to already add to the failed core of veteran guys in this squad already? The Canucks' share of 30-plus players are the lowest share of players on all of the teams in the playoffs if you include the Canucks in terms of their point shares, despite the fact that Vancouver simply has some of the most veterans out of any of these teams, period. So talk to me in the comments what you think about this, by the way. Thank you to those in the previous Canucks video who commented Stadium Chinatown. If you made it to the end of this one, then hey, I don't know, what do you want to talk about? CBC, because Justin McElroy works for CBC. That's our comment section keyword. Talk to me in the comments because that's what I kind of want. You know, I want to get a conversation going about this topic that I'm discussing here. I'm not the news, so you know, it's not really realistic, in my personal opinion, to hold me to the same standards as national broadcasters like CBC, our comment section keyword, by the way. But either way, tell me in the comments what you feel about this entire graph, the fact that the Canucks have a whole bunch of veteran leadership already that just cannot score, so Jim Benning wants to go out there and add some guys who can score. Do you feel good about that? Because I don't know if I really do. I hope you enjoyed. This was Josh Rolls 99, and bye.